question is, what is going to be the role of the private sphere, the companies, corporations, and the public sphere, government, libraries, universities, and the like? What's the future as we bring large amounts of information? Is it going to be largely a private enterprise or a public enterprise? That's one of the great questions of this time.
Google Book Search is a historic effort to make the full text of all the world's books available and searchable through a single search box on google.com. Google Book Search was really an effort to say, wow, there's all this great, really interesting information that's available in books that currently isn't searchable through Google today. So it's an effort to go and make all of the text, books for years have been the historic vehicle through which ideas have been transmitted, to make that information searchable through Google. We've currently partnered with 6 libraries around the world, one of which is Stanford University, and we're working closely. They're our neighbors here, and we work closely with them to digitize the materials in their collection and make them searchable online.
With this robotic book scanner that we have, we can do 15 to 40,000 books a year. I would be a very, very old man before we did 9 million books at that rate. So the Google came to us with a proposition to invest heavily in this and to invest innovatively in this and to give us back copies of the digital copies that they made, as well as not damaging the books. So the private partner is the only partner that came to us with a conception that was big.
The Internet Archive is working with about 30 libraries, also with Microsoft and Yahoo, Adobe, HP, and put together an organization called the Open Content Alliance. The idea is to build an open library system where different organizations pitch in to build a digitized repository of books that's open.
Are you in a position to compete with Google in this?
Actually, I'm hoping that Google turns slightly to the left and decides to join the Open Content Alliance and make their books available in the same way.
Is it likely that they will?
There have been discussions over the last 6-7 years, but they haven't proceeded yet.
Google, through Google Book Search, has developed a proprietary technology for the digitization of books. That is a really interesting technology in that it is a non-destructive technology. So we can go to these libraries that have really valuable collections and scan them in a way that does not destroy them or damage them in any shape or form.
Would there be a chance for us to see how it's working?
The digitization machinery. At this point, we're not making that available to non-partners.
What is the interest of Google?
First, I think that they do it because they know they will build traffic to their site. I do think they also have a philanthropic point of view, an ultimissionary point of view. They are literally trying to do good while doing well. They're trying to do good for the public, wherever that public might be, while they're doing well in their profit column.
Google's just another corporation, and they'll take advantage of their assets to try to use it as an advantage in the commercial marketplace. That's all they are, and that's all they can be under our system.
What guarantee do I, as a user, have that Google is not going to charge me for it in the future?
Well, I mean, today the Google Book Search is a service that's available to users at no cost, as many Google services are. I think most, and this is the current plan for the product: is that we will continue to provide access to this information and to these public domain books at no cost to our users.
Books, it's who we are, it's our literature, it's what we've built up over millennia, and the idea of whether those books are going to be in the public sphere or privatized as we go through a digitization round is very much in the air. There are many that say, it's perfectly fine if one company owns it. I'm sure they'll, make it available under reasonable licensing terms, but it's okay. Why don't we just let Google do it? And there are others that say, no, this is who we are. We want to be able to not have to ask permission of a company to do research with these books. If it's up to one company to say yes or no for any particular type of research, have we really won? Or are we living in a sort of scary Orwellian world?
I think Google is getting to the size where they will have to be watched carefully by competition authorities in the US and Europe. I don't think they are right now behaving in a particularly monopolistic way with services like Google Print, for example, where they are scanning books from several very large libraries. As far as I know, they haven't restricted those libraries from also supplying their books to other search engines. I think if they did start to engage in that behaviour, then you would want the competition authorities to step in.
In the meantime, Google has been developing new applications at a furious pace on a worldwide scale.
So we really expect everyone to have some element of innovation in their jobs. So when engineers are building products for our users, a lot of times they know the classic formula of what they should build, but they'll find a new flair or a new twist that they can offer. And that's really where a lot of this innovation comes from. That said, a lot of the innovation we do have comes from 20% time. And that's where we offer to our employees that they can spend 20% of their time, 1 day a week, doing whatever it is they feel most passionate about. That's where a lot of their excitement and joy comes from. And that's when the really good ideas get unleashed.
This is a test voice clip sent over Messenger as well as over Skype.
For 7 years, Sugata Mitra has been installing computers in the streets of India for both school children and street children. It's known as the Hole in the Wall project. A number of African countries, Venezuela and Argentina, have also shown interest in Dr. Mitra's project.
The idea was to see if children can teach themselves how to use a computer. This is important in countries like India, where there are not enough teachers and not enough schools. The results are that up to 200 children can teach themselves to use a computer using only one playground computer. And in 9 months, they teach themselves enough to be able to do all the usual functions on a computer. The most common use is, of course, for downloading games and music. But after a few months, when they get tired of it, then they also start browsing and use Google to help them with their schoolwork, which is quite interesting. They use Google to search for things that they have read in the school, and also for generally things that they are curious about. I haven't seen them use anything else other than